Hey all, I've been a mild lurker here on Reddit, reading stories that have made me laugh, cry, and reflect more than I expected. Today, I decided it's time I share mine. It's been over 30 years since one single moment changed my entire life. I'm not here asking for advice, and this might be long, but I promise to give you just the right amount of context without dragging out too much. I hope this is the right sub for it. I lost my mom when I was 12. Breast cancer. I still remember the day we said goodbye, not truly understanding what death meant, yet knowing something deep inside me would never be the same again. It was just me and my dad after that. Two lonely souls, bound together by grief, trying to patch up the holes life had ripped in us. We did our best. I like to believe we held each other up in that storm. We cooked frozen dinners, sat in front of the TV most nights not really watching it, and silently learned to adjust to the quiet emptiness her absence left behind. When I turned 14, my dad remarried. Her name was Ashley. She had a warmth to her, a softness that our home hadn't felt in years. She came into our lives with two kids of her own, Mark, who was my age, and Emily, who was 12. New family, new rules, new dynamics. I won't lie, I got along with Ashley and Emily pretty well. Ashley tried her best to make us all feel like one unit, and Emily and I became friends faster than expected. But Mark, we were oil and water. No matter how hard I tried, we clashed constantly. He always seemed to be looking for a fight, and when I didn't want one, he'd make sure to provoke me anyway. Dad would always tell me to give Mark a break, that he'd been the man of the house for a while, and this whole having a dad again thing was new for him. But wasn't it new for me too? Hadn't I lost my mom, and now had to share my dad, my home, my life? No one seemed to think about that. I was just expected to be the bigger person. Then came high school, and with it, a girl named Lisa. I was 15, she was sweet, funny, kind. We started dating, if you could even call it that at that age. Holding hands in the hallway, passing notes, sitting next to each other during lunch. But Mark apparently had a thing for her too. He didn't like that I asked her out first. One day he tried to fight me over it, and once again, Dad intervened. Once again, I somehow ended up being the one in the wrong. Then came the moment that would change everything. A few days after my 16th birthday, I came home with Lisa. We were just hanging out, nothing crazy. My stepmom was doing laundry upstairs and suddenly started screaming. We bolted to my room, confused and scared. What we found was my stepmom holding several pairs of Emily's underwear that she said she found in my drawer. I stood there stunned, speechless. I had no clue how they got there. I didn't even touch that drawer, let alone plant anything in it. But no one believed me. Ashley's face was filled with horror and betrayal. Lisa backed away from me, tears welling up. And then came Mark, adding gasoline to the fire. He told them he had caught me staring at Emily before, that I said I wanted to marry her, that I was always creepy. He was lying. Every word out of his mouth was poison, and they drank it in like it was truth. Lisa slapped me, called me a perv, and stormed out. My world shattered in that moment. My dad didn't even ask for my side. He grabbed me by the arm, dragged me to the front door, and threw me out. I remember falling hard to pavement, crying, begging. I told him I had nowhere to go. I told him it was all lies. He looked down at me, dead in the eyes, and said that wasn't his problem. Then he slammed the door. I banged on it for what felt like hours. Neighbors peeked out of their windows but said nothing. Eventually, the porch light went out. I slept behind a dumpster that night. It was the first night of many. I called my dad's parents the next day, hoping they would help, but they had already heard his version of the story. They called me disgusting and told me never to call again. My mom's parents had both passed before I was even born. I was on my own. I lived on the streets for 2 years. Cold winters, empty stomachs, moments I'd rather forget, but never will. I did things I never thought I'd do. I hated the world. I hated my dad. I hated Mark. Most of all, I hated myself for being powerless. Somehow I survived. When I was 18, I made it to another state and found work at a small boxing gym. It was gritty, sweaty, and full of loud characters, but it became my sanctuary. I trained. I worked the front desk. I mopped the floors. I found something that helped me channel my rage. My fists. I wasn't the next Tyson, but I got pretty damn good. One day, at a little cafe near the gym, I met her. AIM. She was 20. I was 35. I know, huge age gap, and I get why that might raise eyebrows. But something about her felt safe, familiar, like I'd known her in another life. She didn't care about my past, and I never had pretend with her. She saw me, really saw me. 2 years later, we got married. Her dad was an electrician and ended up hiring me. I think he just wanted to make sure I could support his daughter and that I was the real deal, but I respected that. I eventually got my GED thanks to AIM pushing me to believe in myself. She became my rock, my anchor, my compass. We built a life together, one with love, laughter, stability, and eventually for beautiful daughters. And just this year, after decades of hard work, I passed my master's license as an electrician, a milestone I once thought would never be possible. Then last weekend, an email popped up from an unfamiliar name. It was from Emily, my stepsister. It took me a minute to place the name. My hands trembled a little as I opened it. It was long, really long, and emotional. Turns out Mark, now in his 50s, got drunk with some buddies recently and started talking trash. Bragging about how he planted Emily's underwear in my drawer. Bragging how he lied about me to get with Lisa. Bragging how they all hoped I died on the streets. Lisa was in the room. Apparently, hearing that shook her to her core. She left in tears and called Emily. Emily was horrified. She said she never believed it deep down, but was just a kid and didn't have a voice. She spent the whole weekend tracking me down and finally found my email. She apologized profusely, said she believed me now, that Lisa was sick to her stomach, that she and Ashley had cried after hearing it, that my dad had passed away some years back, but never once admitted to doubting Mark. They want to meet, to apologize in person, to make up for lost time. I've read that email maybe a dozen times. Truth is, I feel nothing. Not anger, not forgiveness, just nothing. I spent so many years building a new life, brick by brick, from ruins. I shed that past. I found peace. I don't need that part of my history to feel complete. My wife, my daughters, my in-laws, that's my family. They filled the cracks in my soul. My wife says I should at least respond, even with a petty, "Thanks for finally believing me. Only took you over 30 years. And honestly, I love her for that spark. But I don't know if I even want to respond. What would be the point? What good does it do now? There's a quote I have framed in our hallway, a boxing quote. It reads, "To see a man beaten not by a better man, but by himself is a tragedy. For a long time, I was nearly that man." The end. If you are new to this channel, then please subscribe. We will see you in next one.